in the Zoom app, on your computer or tablet via the Zoom app, or directly dialing the code through your phone. I will guide you in each of the steps for the translation in the three options. Okay, the first step is to find the More button in the lower right corner on the screen and press to disconnect the audio. Then you will return to your phone and dial the next number with your phone. So you're gonna dial 669-9900-6833. Then it will ask you for a meeting number, which is 981-9499-0656. Then press the key pound. Once connected to the translation line, you can go back to the Zoom app to watch the video, and you should now hear the English translation. Option number 2, for those who joined on the computer or tablet with the Zoom app, your first step is to get to your phone and start a call. So dial 669-900-6833. Then it will ask for a meeting number, which is 981-9499-0656, and then press the key pound. If you are on your computer and are now connected to the translation line, you can mute your computer or tablet. And then we have option 3. For those who joined on your phone directly, if you are on your phone, please write down the numbers that I will give you. Hang up this call and dial the new numbers. You will dial 669-900-6833. Then it will ask you for a meeting number, which is 981-9499-0656. And then press the key pound. But please, again, if you have any questions, please send us a message in the chat, and we will give people a minute to connect, and I will speak to the interpreters to make sure people can connect. Thank you. Now I pass the word to my partner, Mayra.
Gracias por su paciencia con nosotros mientras configuramos la interpretación. Ahora me gustaría que le diéramos un aplauso a nuestros padres líderes que organizaron este evento. Pati y yo seremos sus anfitriones esta noche, y también nos acompañará la señora Rocío, Soledad, Cristi, Teodora, Emma, Ceci, María Elena, Maura, Alicia y la estudiante Andrea. Todos somos líderes en nuestras comunidades y en nuestro...
Just like we are volunteers to Innovate and at the Sacred Heart Community Service. Now I'm going to hand it over to Maura so she can speak a little bit more about our group. Can you confirm if she's there? If not, I'll go ahead and read it. She's here. She's just having a little bit of problems with the mic. Maura, I think you might be on mute. Sean, can you help Maura unmute herself, please? We're in live, and when we're live, everything can happen, so sorry for the technical difficulties. Go ahead. You're on mute again. Good evening, everyone. My name is Maura, and I have 2 children in Gunderson High School. We are parent leaders with Innovate Public Schools and Sacred Heart Community Service. Innovate is a statewide organization of parents and educators working to create world-class public schools for all students, particularly students of color and low income and students with special needs. Sacred Heart Community Service is an organization dedicated to creating a community free of poverty by creating hope, opportunity, and action. The great majority of the parents in our group have children enrolled in San Jose Unified School District, and another 3 parent leaders belong to other districts but are here in solidarity with us. Thank you. Now I'll hand it over to Patty. Thank you very much, Maura. We want to thank everyone for being here tonight. We're super excited. We had 324 people registered for the event, but now we have 200. Let me check the number. We have 190 participants on Zoom, and we also have other people who have joined us through Facebook Live. And so we're super excited. This is honestly incredible, and we're super excited. And we want to thank especially our 2 panelists who are here with us today, Ms. Carla Collins and Mr. José Magaña, for participating in tonight's event. Both of you will get the chance to introduce yourselves and explain your position and your role in a few moments. We would also like to thank all the other elected members here tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and name them off. So please, you can just wave hi when we say the names. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. It's San Jose City Council member Raul Perales. I'm sorry. It's Jose Raul Perales, excuse me. Welcome. We also have the Santa Clara County Board of Education trustee, Mrs. Grace Ma. We also have San Jose City Council member-elect Matt Mahan. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And then also representing the office of the mayor, we have Mayor Sam Licardo. We have Candice Le, who is the mayor's policy advisor on education and development for the mayor. Hi. And lastly, representing the Office of California State Assembly member, Even Lowe, we have Patrick Arens, the district director. Thank you, everyone. And we know that in the audience, we also have representatives of Congresswoman's office, Zoe Lofgren. Thank you very much, everyone, for being with us tonight and for making this event a priority with us, and for us parent leaders Innovate and Sacred Heart Community Service. Now we're going to switch you over to attendee mode for the rest of the evening. The purpose of the event, The purpose of tonight's event is to have an in-depth conversation between parents and board members of the San Jose Unified School District. We live in a political age where people don't take the time to have discussions and listen to each other. As community leaders and parents, we believe this pandemic is asking all of us to find ways to have an honest conversation and work together on behalf of all students. Tonight, Myra and I will co-facilitate the event and have a variety of mothers share testimonials, research, and ask questions. We're also excited to hear the thoughts and commitments of our guests regarding our priorities. As volunteers of Sacred Heart Community Service and Innovate Public Schools, we have dedicated hundreds of hours to organizing positive change. And tonight, we celebrate with you all what we have learned and our hopes. I now give the floor to my colleague, Myra. Thank you, Patty. We have some ground rules we'd like for you to follow tonight. Because of the number of attendees, only the leaders of the meeting and panelists will be allowed to speak. Everyone else will have to mute their mics to avoid background noise. We will have time limits on speakers to make sure everyone has the opportunity to speak. Use the chat feature to share your thoughts throughout the evening. Innovate staff will post comments and questions from attendees for all to see throughout the night. Due to the number of attendees, it may not be possible to answer every question or comment, but we will submit all questions to the panelists so that they can hear your voices. Please stay for the entire meeting if you can. Parents and guests have worked hard to prepare this meeting, and we have a very interesting agenda for you. We hope to finish by 8 or 8:15 at the latest. This is a webinar, which means we won't be able to see your faces most of the time. But we will have a moment at the end when we will all meet on the screen, so please don't turn off your camera. This meeting is being recorded on Facebook, and everyone will receive a link after registering. It will also be posted on YouTube. The panelists will have limited time, and they will probably not be able to answer the questions, but your input will be captured and shared with them after the event. Also, for the sake of time and to help our translators a little, we have asked Trustees Magaña and Collins to speak primarily in English. Now, we want to hear from all of you. Let's take a survey. Roberto Gil from Sacred Heart Community Center will help us out with this. Hi, good evening. How is everybody? Nice to see all your names, a lot of people that we know. We would like to hear from the audience. We want to hear your thoughts. They're really important for us. And we want your opinions regarding the parents' engagement. You should be able to see the poll question pop up on your screen. It's going to pop up. And the question is this: do you agree that we all need the parents' voices, especially parents of students with special needs, English learners, and African American students, to be taken under consideration in the distance learning plan for next year? So take a moment to share your perspective. So we can see the results here. 135 of you said yes, that yes, it is important to have these things. Thank you for voting and for giving us your opinion. Patty, if you're there, we're back to you. Thank you very much, Roberto. Thank you for that poll. And I also want to thank, again, the 2 members of the San Jose School Board, Trustee Carla Collins and Trustee José Magaña, for being here tonight. Thank you very much. Now you're going to have a minute to introduce yourselves. A minute each. Share your name, a little bit about your position. Those who are listening in English, the board members will actually answer in English, so you can either stay on the line or you'll be able to hear them directly on the screen. You can also be on the phone, since our translation of this actually is going to repeat it in the English line. So we're going to set the alarm, and when the alarm goes off, and so if Trustee Collins, if you can go ahead and start.
Okay. So my apologies. My English is really bad. I was born and raised in San Jose, and I'm very proud to be raising my 3 kids, all in the San Jose Unified School District. There are students here too. So I come from a line of very strong women, starting with my grandmother. She was and we will continue to build safer and stronger schools. And I know that parents are part of this. And I'm very proud to be part of the parent community, and I'm activist, and I know how much it takes for schools to be successful and for every single student to be successful. And that's my time. Thank you. Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Carla Collins, and I'm very proud to be here tonight. I have 3 kids that attend the San Jose Unified School District, and I come from a very strong line of very, very strong women. My grandmother, immigrant from Mexico, a single mom of 5 kids, and she came to this country to give us the life that she wanted to give us, and she had a lot of sacrifices to be able to be here. So I was able to go from high school to college directly. I know that we're going through very difficult times right now, but we're here to be stronger, and I know that by working together, we'll be able to overcome these very difficult times. We are working together to be able to build stronger schools, and I know that parents are a big part of that. And I'm very proud to be part of this activism for over 10 years so that we can all work for the success of all students. And I know that parents take a big part of that. And my time is off. And now, José Magaña. I want to start by saying thank you to all the families that are taking time out of your day to be here. I know that there's a lot going on, and I just want to appreciate you. So my name is José Magaña, and I'm proud trustee of San Jose Unified School District. And before joining the school district, I was a teacher and also an instructional coach here in California, nationally, through the U.S. Department of Education. And I was an education commissioner for the city of San Jose, and I'm a son of immigrants. And for me, this is very important. I try to support 13 schools in the city of San Jose. I try to push and focus on access equity. This job is personal. I'm the first to graduate from college. My mom had me when I was 16. My father was in and out of prison. So when I think about the student, I am one of those students. I can relate to those of the stories and many of the hardships that they have experienced today and that I had in the past. This work, again, is personal for me. I'm a father of a 1-year-old, and I know that we're trying to do the best that we can for our students so that they can have the same opportunities that I had. So I just want to thank you, everyone, for taking this time to listen. So hello, everyone, repeating again into English. Thank you for all the families that have taken the time to be here to be able to listen on the updates that we have from the San Jose Unified School District. I know that there's a lot happening now. Again, my name is José Magaña, and I'm very proud San Jose Unified School District trustee. So first of all, before being a member of the board, I was a teacher, a kinder teacher in first grade, and I also was a coach, instructional coach in California and through the Department of Education of the U.S. As a commissioner of education. So this work for me is personal. I'm here to support all the schools that we have in the San Jose, and I have 3 focuses: equity, access, and results. So I was the first of my family to go to college. My mom had me when she was 16. My dad was in and out of jail. So I'm one of the students. I can relate to many of the challenges that they go through. So again, this is personal for me. This work is personal. And I'm trying to do the best that I can to make sure for everyone to have the same opportunities that I had. And again, thank you for being here and listening to me. And time is up. Thank you. Thank you very much to both of you for your presentations and for being here tonight. Now, we will have the testimony of a student to support us and remind us that this work is for our children. Let's welcome Andrea. Good afternoon. My name is Andrea, and I'm a student at Willow Glen Elementary. It has been extremely hard for me since the coronavirus issue started because it is not the same thing through the screen that in person. Sometimes the teacher will send many confusing things, and it was hard to understand. When this happened, we would send a message to the teacher to ask for help, and many times, we did not get an answer from the teacher until we had already figured it out. Also, we could not have a normal graduation. The graduation was via screen virtual. I couldn't say goodbye to my class. I couldn't see my friends. And I could not celebrate with my teacher. This made me sad because I could not say goodbye to the class, and more so because I was going to a new school this fall. I feel bad because my first day in a new school will be through a screen, virtual. So it makes me happy because I know that I can go back in person in October, and I'm happy to do that. But during these difficult times, I wish that my teacher will support me and tell me that I could do it. Thank you very much. And again in English, good afternoon, my name is Andrea, and I'm a student at Willow Glen Elementary. It's been extremely hard for me since the coronavirus issue started, because it is not the same to learn through a screen than in person. Sometimes the teacher will send many confusing things, and it's hard to understand. When this happened, we would send a message to the teacher to ask her for help, and many times we did not get an answer from the teacher until we had already figured it out. Also, we could not have a normal graduation. The graduation was via screen, virtual. This was difficult for me because I could not see my friends. I could not celebrate with my teacher. This made me sad because I could not say goodbye to my class, and more so because I will be going to a new class this fall. I feel bad because my first day in school will be to a screen. I know this will only be until October. It makes me happy to know that I can go back in person in October. I would like that in the school year that will start through a screen virtually, so that I can feel supported by my teacher and that she can help me if I need it. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much, Andrea, for sharing your perspective as a student. You and your friends are our future, and we are all here today to ensure that you have a much better experience in school and that you feel completely supported and prepared to learn the coming year. Now we have two incredible parent leaders, Maria Elena and Soledad, to share the state of educational equity and distance learning in San Jose. While we listen to this conversation, please use the chat to share your comments or ask questions. We want to hear from you all. And now I will let Maria Elena talk. Thank you very much, Mayra. Hello. Good evening, everyone. My name is Maria Elena, and I'm the VP of ELAC and a volunteer for over 70 years in River Glen. I have 4 children who have attended River Glen in the San Jose School District. I'm a volunteer. My older daughter lives in Colorado, and my older son is graduated. Emily will go into 11th grade, and Stephanie is going to be attending River Glen. I'm a volunteer parent leader with Innovate. In March, all of our lives were affected by the pandemic that was not only a health crisis, but also an educational one. Districts and schools worked hard to reduce the impact on our children's education, but the quality of education remains a major concern. What we realize as a group is that families within the same district or even within the same school had very different experiences with distance learning. Some parents did not hear from their teachers for weeks or months at a time. We know that during the spring, some students were offered 6 hours of instructions per day, while others were offered only 2 to 3 hours of instructions per week or less. The San Jose School District provided Chromebooks and hotspots to many students who needed them, but still, many of our families had a lot of trouble using technology and communicating with the teachers and principals. It has been a very difficult time for all of us. We understand how teachers and administrators feel. This is a global crisis, but you know how we moms are. We want to help. So together, we decided not to sit back and do nothing. We've been working since the beginning of March. First, we had many conversations with each other, with our neighbors, with other parents for our children's schools. Then, we started researching, talking with education experts, with elected officials, with legislators to share our concerns and experiences and to learn about their plans. We met with both of you, Trustee José Magaña and Trustee Carla Collins, and other local officials, and held a total of 12 research meetings, some of which are here tonight. As a group, We have attended all of the board meetings since November 2009 and also state and countrywide meetings and webinars. So it's been a lot of work, but the laundry doesn't wash itself. So this is what we need to do. It is our responsibility as mothers. After all, we spent a lot of time talking and summarizing everything we learned. That's how we define 6 needs that we believe are going to be very important for successful distance learning in the fall. Before we share the 6 needs, we want to tell you what the state of California is requiring for districts regarding distance learning. Soledad will tell us a little bit about this. And now, I'll give the floor to Soledad. Thank you, Maria Elena. Hello, my name is Soledad, and I'm a mother of a son who's 8 years old, and I also have 5 nieces and nephews who attend or attended Washington. I'm a parent leader and volunteer with Sacred Heart Community Service, and also I'm a member of the community group. Sorry. I'm also a mom. I'm a member of the committee with the Santa Clara University. As a dedicated and involved member of the community, I'm a passionate and worried not just about equity for our communities in general, but more specifically, education equity. To ensure all children have equal access to education next year, Governor Newsom and state legislators have created requirements for distance learning. You can see some of those prerequisite requirements on your screen. We thank Governor Newsom and the legislature for these guidelines, but as you will hear tonight, we still see gaps in the legislation. This is why we have created a list of 6 needs to ensure we start talking about possible changes that have to be addressed. These 6 needs came out of the fact that one of our biggest concerns for many of us is learning loss. As Latino mothers, we know that the quality of education our children receive will define their opportunities in life. During a normal summer, students from 3rd to 8th grade usually lose 15 to 30% of what they learn during the school year in math, and between 5 to 15% in reading. During the last spring, experts are estimating that students may have lost up to 50% of what they have learned in math and up to 30% in reading. This study didn't take into account the fact that distance learning will continue during the 2020-2021 school year. If we don't get ready, students in some grades could end the 2020-21 school year a full year behind academically. It is totally true that many things need attention during times of crisis, and what we want to share is that education has to be one of them. The decisions that the government and elected officials are making will literally define the future and opportunities of our children, fathers, mothers, teachers, principals, elected officials. This is a very difficult conversation, and there are no easy solutions, but this is not the time to look the other way. Our children expect more from us. And I will let Patty talk now. Thank you very much, Maria Elena Soledad. This information is very important and truly demonstrates why now, more than ever, it is important to have strong support, leadership, and collaboration. Now, I would like to present Alicia, a parent leader in the San Jose Unified School District, who will share her experience with distance learning. Alicia? Good afternoon. My name is Alicia, and I'm a mother of 2 girls that attend a school in the San Jose Unified School District. One of them has received speech therapy since she was 2. Currently, she's 9, and this school year, she will be in 4th grade. It was when she started in 3rd grade that the big gap between her and others in her class started to show. So I met with the school principal, therapists, and psychologists. We all concluded that my daughter needed more support because this was impacting her learning and was also affecting her emotionally and psychologically. I asked the district to evaluate her, but her answer was no, that she didn't qualify because special education because there was more children that needed more help. All of this was worsened by the current situations. Schools were closed and my daughter was left with practically nothing because she does not receive speech therapy or the reading support that she was being provided. She was also left without her regular classes. Now my big worry is what is going to happen when she goes back to school. She will be falling behind even more because she's without the learning resources that she needs. I would like to ask during this difficult time we're all going through that you do not forget our children that need more help, as there are many others like my daughter in our district. So my ask is for you not to forget them, and for you to dedicate more resources for their learning. Thank you. And now, Mayra. Thank you, Alicia. We share this information, the research report, and testimony with you as members of the school board and with parents and elected officials with the goal of framing the 6 needs that we would like to have you consider as you prepare for the next semester in the fall. Number 1, we need communication about the distance learning plan from the district to parents in a manner that's consistent and parent-friendly. Number 2, we need direct communication with district staff for parents to report problems with technology and the new platform for classes. Number 3, we need the district to offer and communicate clearly at all levels of the school what the expectations of distance learning are. Number 4, we need English learners and students with special needs to be given priority. Number 5, we need space for active participation by the parents in district and special committee meetings. Number 6, we need you to seek new partnerships with other institutions to address learning loss. I believe we are having some technical issues with Christy. Patty, could you please read number 5 and number 6? Yeah, sure. Number 5 is we need space for active participation by the parents in district and special committee meetings. Number 6, we need you to seek new partnerships with other institutions to address learning loss. And now, I'll let Mayra speak. Thank you, Patty. Trustee Magaña and Trustee Collins, after listening to our parents' priorities and the research report, we want to ask you if you can share a little bit more about your own priorities for next year. We would like to invite you to share your thoughts, values, and visions for 1 minute each. We'll track the time on the screen. And Trustee Magaña, would you like to start? So for me, there's 3 things that come to mind. Communications. I do think that we need to improve our communication, have clear communication, and have better ways to communicate. It could be through social meetings or better translation opportunities, but I think that we need to simplify our communications so that it's clear for everyone. Next is equity. I'm proud to champion a lot of our equity work around our equity policy, around our Black Lives Matter resolution, and I would like to keep pushing to make sure that we keep supporting the students that are impacted by this gap. And on top of that, the final piece that I would like to push is just making sure that we refine the plans that we put out. This is going to be a learning process where we're going to be hitting roadblocks along the way. I want to make sure that we're listening to our families and engaging with them to really push and to have clear communication that folks understand what we're working on, and to get the feedback that is crucial from all of you, from staff, from teachers, and other folks in the community. And I would say the last piece, partnerships. Sorry, time is up. And we're going to hold for the interpretation. Trustee Collins, please. Thank you so much. So I agree with my colleague, with Trustee Magaña. time's up. So again, so as I said, I agree with Trustee Magaña. It is important, without importing everything that we're going through. Obviously, it's very important through this time period, through this pandemic, and we have to address all of this. We are still going through the first wave of this pandemic. Our school district is very big. We have 29,000 students and thousands of students, and all voices are important. Students, personnel, teachers, staff, all of them, all the voices are important, but we do need to have a two-way communications. And absolutely, if we're going to err, we should be erring on having more communication. And that's something that we have learned from the spring and the mistakes that we made during the spring. And also, equity is very important. Without understanding how independent or how vulnerable students are, we need to address the needs of each of the students. And I also think that parent engagement is very important. We need to increase parent engagement. And I'm also very happy that the governor have switched the norms of meetings and that we were able to meet again as committees like LILAC. And my time is up, sorry. Thank you both for sharing your thoughts. Now, we come to a very exciting part of the evening, which is very important to all of us. And that is the commitments that we want elected officials to make. So please take a moment to take a deep breath, stretch, move a little bit, and prepare. Now, we are going to share the 6 needs that we identified. We will ask both of you, Trustee Magaña and Trustee Collins, that you make 6 specific commitments to help elevate these priorities for us. As parents that have become co-educators overnight, we understand as 2 members of the school board, you have limited jurisdiction over the overall actions and programs offered by the San Jose School District. But we believe that as members of the board, you can still commit to use your power and your platform as elected officials to advocate and elevate the voice of the families and the community. When you respond, we will appreciate a simple answer of yes or no. And if you want to elaborate on your answer, you will have 1 minute. And please be aware of the alarm. And now, Theodora will continue. Thank you, Patty. My name is Theodora Hernance, and I'm a mother of 3 kids from the San Jose School District. First, thank you to all school board members and district staff for creating a plan that seems solid to start the 2020-2021 school year. Let's not forget that access to quality education is a constitutional right in the state of California. Knowing this, it seems the district wants to exceed the expectations from the state guidelines with the goal of giving our teachers and students a better learning experience than last spring. Why is this important to you? To dramatically improve the experience of parents, students, and teachers for the last spring. Each of you has a minute for your answers. We'll first hear from Trustee Collins and next, Trustee Magaña. Trustee Collins? Mm-hmm. So I'm not absolutely clear if you want me to affirm the statements that were made and everything that's coming out of this, but the work that you've been doing, and it's exactly the work that I've been doing. I'm dedicated to continue with that. As parents, as a parent, I'm a mother of three, and it's important. I understand that it's very important for the district to have clear communication that's easy and that we have a direct line of communication, and also increase equity and participation of parents. If we want to overcome this, we have to work together to have a better communication in the future. Otherwise, our kids are the ones that will suffer, and we'll have a very difficult year ahead of us. So we need to have create a base or create a roadmap to be able to work on this in the future and to be able to overcome this. So yes, absolutely, parent participation is important, and supporting them too. Mr. Magaña? So yes, first of all, I believe that we need to mention that what happened during the last spring was unprecedented. We never expected for things to be the way that they were. And I think that we have now a lot more experience so that what happened during the spring doesn't happen during the fall. It's very important to improve the experiences of students and teachers so that this opportunity gap doesn't become bigger. We cannot let that happen. And through the work that I've done with like union, and what I do know is that we have to do it better. And as I said it before, this is personal for me. This work is personal. And I feel like if we don't have world-class education, it will be very difficult for students to be successful either to a college or to vocational school. So we have to do a better job during the fall. And we have to talk about improving communications and expand that to teachers and families. So it is important to improve the experiences of parents, students, teachers, and we have to work together to be able to do this distance learning and for this distance learning to work for everyone. Thank you for your answers. We know that implementing a plan requires hard work for teachers, principals, and district staff. Do you commit to ensure that the most important goals in the plan, which are shown on the screen right now, will be guaranteed, including that each student receive his or her own device, that teachers receive professional development, and that there is training for parents on the use of Canvas and technology? And as parents, the expectation of this plan is that teachers will be offering classes every day upon their classrooms in regular schedule. Finally, the district plan is difficult to find and understand clearly. Will both of you commit to demand that the district publishes this plan in a format that is easy to understand, a format such as a presentation or maybe a video? Would you commit to having a written report by the administration and making it available in each board meeting about the plan implementation progress. We'll listen to Trustee Magaña first and then Trustee Collins. So the answer is yes. Yes to all the aspects that we've been talking about. As a member of the board, I was one of the founders of the Equity Coalition, the Equity Digital Coalition. I have also worked with some of my colleagues to be able to provide more funding at county level and city level. And thank you for my colleagues that have worked for this to make sure that this happens, that we could have high-speed technology, but it is technology that our families really need to be able to be successful. We need internet for everything, for the doctor's appointment, to apply for a job, and we need to have more training. I used to train teachers, and we need to support teachers, but also our families so that they feel comfortable. And firsthand, I can tell you that if we don't have all these supports for parents, for staff, for the families, then this struggle will continue to be an uphill battle, and we need to do this together. We need to have more communication, clear communication, and I will continue to fight for this. I appreciate the letters that are sent, but we need to expand the ways that we communicate through Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever it is, but we need to expand those channels in a way that they're clear and concise. And these communications needs to come from different points, school board, staff, superintendent. So I do commit to expand this, and I hope that my colleagues will also join me on this effort, because yes, we do need more information, clear information for all families, because we receive so much information that sometimes is lost. And I also commit to bring more resources to the school district so that we can also have it at county level, and also that we can have support for parents so that they can understand how to use Canvas and that they can feel supported for technology like WebEx and what have you. Thank you, Mr. Magaña. And now, Trustee Collins. So absolutely, communication is very important. Training for school sites is important. We have a plan that we've been working on since the beginning of this shelter at home. There was already people working on this, and we're still working to improve it. And it's going to be difficult. The plan that we have for this next Wednesday when we start the school is the best plan that we have. It's going to be 100% distance learning. It's something that's going to be difficult. There's nothing normal about this. We are going to have a full day of instruction and live interaction with our students, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to be difficult. And as a matter of fact, the district already has invested millions of dollars in the training for staff, but not just for them, but also for parents, and not just a one-time training, because if you're anything like me, one time is not enough. It has to be several things, because we have more than one kid at home. We have different passwords, different technology, and it's very difficult, even if in the best of circumstances. So yes, we need to have a conversation, a solid conversation, and constantly we need to continue listening and evaluating if this is working or not working, or where do we need to correct, and if families are understanding of not. So it's going to be a constant evaluation to know where our families are at, where our students are at, so that we're all in the same page. I think we all know this. And if there was any way to go around this, we would do it. But we know that that's not the case. So I'm committed to training and communication. Thank you, Trustee Collins. And now Cecilia. So hello, good afternoon. This is Cecilia Uribe. I'm a mother of 3 kids. They are attending the San Jose district. So first of all, we want to thank you for your willingness to meet with us and other parent leaders to ensure that we have the information we need to succeed as co-educators of our children. We are very excited to know that in the fall, every student who needs it will receive a device. However, given our experience in the spring, we know that in the fall, we may face some technical or performance issues with the devices. And not all parents have the knowledge required to use them properly. Will you use your leadership to propose with the board and district administration a parent, student, and teacher support and service center that will provide telephone and electronic responses to any technological or navigational problems with Canvas or WebEx programs? We're going to hear from Trustee Collins first. Well, that's a problem that has existed forever, this digital gap, and now it's been amplified. So yes, we do need a Wi-Fi connection that's strong. We need devices, and we need to have this connectivity, and we need tech support. All of this is important. We need to have direct lines of communications to be able to have this support directly, because we don't have the luxury to wait. Because if we wait, that's an instructional day that our kids are missing. And as a matter of fact, with the district, we know that we need to have a solid communication and to have strong relationships between students, teachers, staff, parents, because that's where issues are resolved with communications, and ideally they will be solved fast, and then we can move on to the next issue. And this doesn't happen. We need to have this technical support. The district is focusing on the platform, the different platforms that we're using continuously. But again, this is something that's important. This is like not having water, right? It's an essential need. So I do commit to this. Thank you. Because honestly, during the spring, it was very frustrating for the teachers, for my kids, for myself, to have so many issues with the technology, with the platforms, and we didn't know who to ask for help. We called the teacher, and honestly, he wasn't the person that needed to have all the responsibility. We are a team, as you mentioned. It's principals, students, teachers, and parents. So yes, it is important to have the center of communication and center of support. So thank you. And now, Trustee Magaña. So I know that our staff has been learning a lot from what happened during the spring, and they're always looking ways to improve. And also with this launch of technology that has not been used before, I know that many families and teachers are worried about these programs like Canvas and WebEx. And I know that we're going to start having a lot of questions about this as we get closer to the start of the school year. And I want to make sure that we have this support already in place, because this is going to be key. We have to explore other ways to be able to implement so that families can have access to this and the staff have access to this tech support that they need. And we have received some feedback that the processes that we have right now will delay things a lot, and we're trying to fix it now. We're also exploring other ways of communicating, as an example, online. Maybe we have a chat box where we can write our questions and get support right there, and then it's easy, it's accessible, we can translate it there also, and I think that will be a faster way of communicating. Also, teachers and principals, they also need to have support that's quick, as my colleague mentioned. Internet is something that's essential, just like water, and not just for school issues, but also for resources, for mental health resources, and everything that's happening with COVID. And so, but I do want to be transparent. We need to have a process that's in place, but that limits exposure to COVID. We can explore a hotline, maybe a technical hotline or a support center for parents, where we were able to implement physical distancing for those that have a high risk of exposure, because let's be honest, the Latinx and Chicanx communities have been very impacted enormously with COVID. So I want to continue to explore these ways of communicating, but of course we cannot wait a week of 3 days for an answer. Thank you for the commitment that you mentioned about the hotline. And we hope to God for our situation to improve and to have a good communication line and to be able to navigate the online platforms. That is not easy, especially for parents, because we're not up to date with technology. But thank you for your commitments. Mr. Trustee Magaña and Trustee Collins, and now Christy will continue. Thank you, Cecilia. As mentioned during the testimonials, communication about academic issues between parents, teachers, and principals at the school site level was very difficult in the spring. In the fall, clear and frequent communication at each school site will be essential and should be a priority for the board and administration. Similar to the previous question, but in relation to academic issues, and perhaps it could be a part of the same helpline, or could be done by setting a clear expectation that each principal will have a virtual cafecito each week for parents. We cannot make teachers bear the responsibility of communicating with parents alone. We need staff, policies, and mechanisms dedicated to helping teachers communicate with parents. Will you commit to proposing a district-wide definition of standards and expectations for response time issues at school sites and at the district central office? Will you support requiring a weekly virtual cafecito at each district school to hear from parents and answer questions? Let's hear from Trustee Magaña first. So, yes, we need to expand the ways in which we are communicating so that it's not just through a letter or just through one person, and that we can have it through a school board member, a principal, or a teacher if they're willing. But we need to have clear communication so that distance learning could be efficient. We all need to be on the same page. And to be able to do this, we need to have norms, standards, and we need to have expectations and standards so that we all know what to expect. I know that me, as a former teacher, I was always thinking, what is expected from me? What are the results that I need to provide so that I can be the best educator possible? We need to be up to date as much as possible. We also need feedback as much as possible from families who are the ones who are supporting the students at home. And we do need to have this communication, this feedback that's a lot clearer so that we can understand why there's decisions that are being made district-wide or school-side-wide so that they understand what are the results that are being expected. We need more information, and we need more information to be able to improve. I know that the lack of answers, that's something that shouldn't happen, so we need to make sure that this should be a priority to keep you and the teachers up to date as to what's happening so that we can work together and we can have a clear communications and we can work together. It could be through a school district meetings, through social media, but it has to be a clear channel, and we need to understand what are the results that we're expecting and what are the expectations. And we know that this is going to be a new process that is going to need to be refined. We know that other districts have done something similar, and we're going to be learning from all of you, from the staff and from the students, so that we can close this, or that this digital gap and learning gap doesn't get bigger or lean. Thank you, Mr. Magaña, and we really appreciate that you understand our point of view. And now we will take your commitments. So maybe propose this cafecitos, weekly cafecitos, and you're going to be able to implement it as much as possible. Yes, my apologies. I was going to reply in Spanish. Yes, I'm willing to explore how we can implement this, how we can do it. It could be weekly, bi-weekly, but we also need to take into considerations that principals also need some training. But I would like to have this in mind and consider it, how we can implement it. So thank you. Trustee Collins? Trustee Collins? I believe she is having issues with her internet connection. Maybe we want to move to the next ask. Trustee Collins? I believe you're having trouble with your internet connection. We cannot see you and we cannot hear you. We're going to continue. Oh, if you would like, maybe we can continue with Emma, and then maybe we can return to Trustee Collins. Yes, of course. Emma, you can go ahead. Good evening, everyone. My name is Emma. Thank you for being here with us. The state guidelines for students with special needs and English learners are very generally defined, and that will give local districts the authority to decide how services will be provided to these two groups. We want to thank you, and especially Trustee Magaña and Board President Teresa Castellanos, for the recent changes made to the district's equity policy. In the spirit of that policy, and because we all know that equity means more support for students who need it, would you commit to develop and propose a resolution to give priority to students with special needs and English learners for whom distance learning poses risk and significant challenges to their learning? We believe this resolution should focus on the following supports and legally mandated services, some of which were not offered in the last semester in the spring. Continuing to require IEP meetings and making accommodations based on the special needs of each student, translating IEPs without delay, without a month, for the families that only speak Spanish or other languages and families that don't speak English at home. Clarification of the process and goals for the reclassification processes for English learners due to cancellation of the LPAC test. Clarification and clear goals at the district level for how supports and additional services, therapy, etc., will be offered in the context of distance learning. And we'll hear first from Trustee Collins, if available, if she's not having any more technical issues. Yes, we can hear you. Gracias. So yes, my apologies. This is one of the issues that we're going to be dealing with distance learning, right? To have this internet connection that is not very reliable. So my apologies, but I do understand this priority to be able to support these vulnerable students, like special needs students and English learners. The district has already been working under the direction of the board This is one of our priorities, special needs students and the Latino students and the male Latino, given the data that has been showing it to us, and given the fact that we've been failing them and we haven't had early interventions to be able to fulfill needs of these students. So this is something difficult to do online, and I know for some populations, and what worries me is that this is not going to work until we've come back physically to the classroom. So we need to offer all of the supports that we are able to provide to be able to fulfill their needs. And my apologies, I heard something about a resolution. I was having connectivity issues again, sorry. But what I can tell you is that, yes, we need to give a priority to be able to go back to the school side. And it's not going to be overnight. We're not going to be able to go back and everything will be normal again. It's going to be a slow process, but we need to be able to lead this with equity so that everyone could be able to we'll be able to fulfill everyone's needs. And my apologies, time is up. I have a question for Trustee Collins, well, too. In reference to English learners, do you have a plan for them to support them? Because as a matter of fact, they didn't receive additional supports during the pandemic, or also special needs students. They didn't have any supports, any therapy. So what types of supports are they going to have? Do you guys have a plan for them? Thank you. And now, well, my apologies. I need to interpret that. Sorry. So we need to make sure that you connect with the district staff that is working on this. So maybe after this, we can connect online. We can schedule a call to make sure that you have the supports that you need for your students and that you can connect with the staff. And I'm not sure what your situation, if you have a special needs or you have an IEP, but definitely we need to follow up after today to make sure that all of this is in place. Because what happened during the spring is an example of something that we don't want to happen during the fall. We don't want any students to fall through the cracks and that we're not able to fulfill their needs. We want everyone to be connected to the supports that they need. So we want to make sure that you receive the information that you need from the school district. Thank you. So it's not just for me, but it's for all parents and all students on special needs. Thank you. Trustee Magaña? So thank you, and thank you for recognizing the work that's being done on regards to the equity policy. We have been pioneers on this, and we're the first district to be able to implement this. I know that other districts are following our steps. This is a priority that we had to be able to support this student category due to this equity policy that we have in place and the policies that the school board has. This is some of my own priorities. As it was mentioned, the translation of IEPs, and for the process of LPAC to be clear, I was, as a matter of fact, a teacher that had to translate for parents as a teacher, and as an educator, that I didn't feel comfortable with that, and I could only imagine how frustrating it was for families to be able to hear how they can support their students in a language that they don't understand. And as Trustee Collins said, what happened during the spring cannot be what will happen in the fall, based in California law, but also on our kids' rights and our families' rights. So we want to make sure that we have translation available, and not only that, but also the results. The results need to be clear and how they're going to achieve them, and so that everyone will be clear and how they will be, what are the expectations. I, as a sibling of somebody with an IEP, it was very frustrating for my parents to know that services weren't being presented, that goals were not being met, and that sometimes teachers will forget some of the aspects of it. And there's many things that happen, but we need to make sure that teachers are clear, and also for parents, so that they can advocate for this to happen. I'm gonna continue to push this so that it will be a success and that it will be doable, and that all services can be provided in a way, in an efficient way. I know that many things need to be in person, but we need to find out a way of how we're going to do it during this COVID period so that we don't fail to these students. And as a member of the board, this equity policy has funding, and it indicates that this funding needs to be allocated accordingly based on equity. And it's a very big area that we need to focus on with support for families with translation, but also trainings for families so that they can support their students. And this is something that I would like to expand. And my time is up, but I wanted to talk also about ethnic studies. A question for you. Do you have a plan for English learners, any additional supports after school programs? Well, yes, as a matter of fact, I saw a question come in, and that was also the same question that I made to the board as to how is it that we're going to support those students that speak Spanish, or maybe they speak a different language from what the teacher speaks. So what are we going to do in those cases? And what I do understand is that Canvas has a translation tool to be able to fulfill those needs of students and families. But that was some of the questions that were made. And our hope is that we will be able to use that tool from Canvas to be able to close that communication gap and to be able to support. As to support after school, and what are we going to do? I know that the superintendent has been asking what we have done, what programs have we been doing to be able, what we can do also with our partners. So these conversations are happening, and I'm going to make sure to ask this question on our next board meeting. Thank you. We understand then that you commit to support our special needs kids and English learners. So you're committing to helping? Sí. Yes. Sí, perdón, sí. Sí. Thank you for listening to us, and thank you for being here. And now, Christy will continue. Thank you, Emma. We also want to thank each of you and district officials and staff for your ongoing work to continue hosting school board meetings and conducting surveys to get parent input about their experiences with distance learning. We know from parent leaders, we would like this. We know from parent leaders in Los Angeles Unified School District that they have not held a single public board meeting since the start of shelter in place in March. This is unacceptable. So thank you for your commitment to parent input and engagement. We are worried that many of the committee meetings that are geared towards parent engagement, like CACSI, DLAC, ELAC, were not held during the spring and may not be held virtually throughout the coming academic year. Without these spaces for parent input, it will be incredibly difficult for parents of children of these groups to receive information and advocate for their rights. Will you commit to advocate for a board goal to ensure that the district holds meetings or forums to gather parent input regarding the learning continuity plan required by the state, and that the district holds meetings for all parent input committees remotely during the quarantine? Specifically, this means that all school site council meetings, ELAC, DLAC, CACSI, and others, are not interrupted due to shelter-in-place orders. Let's not forget that access to education is a constitutional right in California. And we will listen to Trustee Magaña first. Yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, that's one of my favorite things as a member of the board committees. I'm a proud member of the ELAC and the IP, and also I'm an alternate of CACSI. And I do believe that our staff should be meeting in person, just as our families. We need to be safe, but we need to have meetings so that we are making sure that you are engaging, that we're engaging in this process, because we do need your feedback to help with the LPAC. As you know, the LPAC, it's the way that schools receive funding, and this needs to be a priority. And we need to have you engage in this process so that families are able to support their students. And we go back to the same. I think that we need to make sure that guys are engaged, and maybe do outreach on different communities to make sure for everyone to participate. And I know my time is almost up, but I wanted to talk about the partnerships as this library system, to be able to amplify this so that everyone has the library cards, so that they can have resources and they'll be able to have success, and parents will be able to support their students. As I mentioned, communications, we need your wisdom, we need your feedback so that you can help us to make these decisions. Thank you, Trustee Magaña. So we understand then that you are committing to be able to have these virtual committees for all committees, right? Thank you. Trustee Collins? So I absolutely agree. As I mentioned before, governor's orders, guidelines have changed. So this will allow us to meet. This is important, but obviously health is first, above all, for students, staff, and our families also. So we are going to be starting these meetings again. We're going to be able to meet again with our committees, but there will be virtual meetings. And I do understand why they're so important. As we mentioned, this is part of democracy in action, right? So we need to have more voices at the table. And And it's part of the infrastructure that allows us to have this. This is already in the district plan, so they're going to be scheduling. They're, again, going to be virtual. And we need to have public notice for this, and they will so that it will happen as it's happening for the board meetings. And it's going to be virtual meetings again. And so, again, I do agree, because I think that for the public education systems to be stronger and better, we need to include more voices, and this will allow parents to be engaged, and participation can increase. And I am part of a committee, and it's been growing enormously. My apologies, my time is up. Thank you, Trustee Magaña and Trustee Collins, for your commitments. And now I will give the floor to Rocio. Hello, good evening. My name is Rocio. I just have a question for you, Trustee Collins and Trustee Magaña. Are you willing to continue meeting with us to be able to continue to share opinions? Because I believe that together we can work better. Would you be willing to continue or to meet with us again? Trustee Collins? Yes, that's easy. Yes, of course. Yes, as I mentioned before, I'm more than happy to meet with all of you or anyone that wants to meet, that's trying to improve the district and to do the best for our kids, especially for families like you that are here on a Monday evening at 8:30 advocating for your kids. So absolutely, yes. Thank you. So we'll continue in communications with both of you. Thank you both. So thank you, everyone. As Trustee Magaña just mentioned, it is 8:30 and everyone continues to be here, and we thank you very much for taking time to be here with us. And we also would like to thank everyone in the audience because they're here taking this time. And now we would like to ask everyone to prepare to join us on the screen for a group picture. But so let's fix our hair, let's relax a little bit. We want to see your faces. We want to see everyone's faces. So we're going to ask you to please activate your start your video on your Zoom call. And now I'm going to let Mayra continue. Thank you for your answers, Trustee Collins and Magaña. We heard you say yes to many of our requests, which gives us hope, and we're excited to work with you. Now, let's take 2 minutes to look at each other. We're going to invite each and every one of you to this stage so that you can see and feel the power that our community has. Please turn your camera or your video on so that we can have a group picture and we can see everyone's faces. Thank you, Mayra. It is very exciting to see everyone on the screen. So thank you again for being here with us tonight. Tonight, we have heard commitments from our elected leaders. And now we would like to remind everybody here today that we have to work as a team, as parents, teachers, elected officials, school leaders, and community to educate our children. We want to thank you, elected officials. And we want to thank everybody that came out tonight. So we are asking everyone to join. We're asking everyone to join this Zoom call. We are about to conclude our meeting. So if you could please activate your video or your camera on this Zoom call. And you can also end the call as we have ended the meeting. We are just going to be taking a group picture now. We appreciate that you joined us tonight and you were here in the English line to listen to the English interpretation of tonight's meeting. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us. The meeting has ended. We are just waiting for a group picture. So we're gonna ask you to activate your camera on the Zoom call so that we can have a group picture. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight for this San Jose Let's Come Together for Our Kids, a pairing event with the San Jose Unified School District Board Trustees, Carla Collins, San Jose Magaña, and Innovate. Good night. So we would like to remind everyone that's present today that we need to work together as a team, as parents, elected officials, school leaders, and community to educate our children. We want to thank our elected officials, and we want to thank everybody that came tonight. And also, I would like to thank Innovate for making all of this, for making tonight possible. Thank you, everyone. And now, Mayra. Thank you, Patty. So we hope that tonight everyone were reminded that civic engagement is everybody's responsibilities. We hope that this was the first of many discussions for the experience of distance learning to be much better in the next school year. We recognize that we're in difficult times and this is the best time to come together and work together for our children and families. We are united for our children. Thank you very much and good evening, everyone.